Well, first of all, thanks for coming on here because I didn't thank you, so appreciate your time.
Oh, my pleasure. My big, big pleasure.
So let's get into where this all comes from on your YouTube channel. Like, where do these, monologues and insights come from? What compels you to make them?
Mm, it's an excellent question because I'm returning from a picnic, and there were two young girls there, my daughter and my niece, and they asked me, "Why are you talking about things when you know you can't do anything with people can't do anything with this information?" It's like, why are you even saying those things? It's like, and I said, it's like you found a piece of heaven, and you can't let anyone in. Do you tell people about this place? Do you tell them that you're in this place? Or do you leave it to yourself? And it's like a moral question. What do you do? Is it better for them to know about what you know if there is no chance in hell that you can help them get to your point? So it's a question. So what speaks is I I say that I am the absolute because I realize that I'm the absolute, and it speaks. This is what is happening because it didn't speak from the time of the my shifts. 3 years I didn't Simcha didn't say anything about it outwardly to the world. So if it speaks now, it's probably what's supposed to be happening. If people hear what it says, the specific people who hears it are the ones that should. So I go with the flow, you say.
Hmm.
This is what this is what I this is what's happening. If it's happening, this is what's supposed to be happening, and I'm cool with it.
I see. I think people are definitely hearing you for sure. And even if you can't do it for anybody, I think you can at least show proof or at least like show a way, like point the way. Like, oh, it's possible, like, and with these insights prove to others also that, you're not alone in this whole enlightenment thing, whatever you want to call it, that there's actually other people that are on this wavelength all over the world. So I think that's the purpose of it, to, even though you can't enlighten somebody, you can just show what your experience is like, and there's power in that. I think opening your heart to the world, there's so much power in that. How did you get to this point? What was, could you describe your shift and what led to it?
Yes, but first I want to agree with you that what I am saying, it's like it's not proof because I don't prove anything I speak. But
Hmm.
this is what I want when I say those things, and I say I embody it in my daily life as a person, as a regular person, as a mother, as someone who is working for a living in something very unrelated to this matter. So I say I want to say that it exists, this state of enlightenment. And it's a natural state, and it's a blissful state, and it can happen. And if it happened to me, I will say that, wait, it happens. So
Hmm.
this is my objective, being a living proof of it, walking, talking, normal, down to earth, someone who is experiencing life this way. So my shift happened 3 years ago. It came unexpectedly and spontaneously. I didn't know much about this subject. I didn't read about it, and I was very busy with my daily job. I'm a video editor, and I have clients, and I have 4 children and a big family. And I was too busy living life and not asking for the higher meaning. I was brought up I'm Jewish, so the religion part was like I put a V on it. There's a God. It's of the Jews and these traditions. It's okay. Light the candles. I will know where I came from. This is it. It's very deep, you know. Judaism is very deep. You can believe it. So I was kind of satisfied from the spiritual point of view. My shift happened because I think I had a to-do list, like a to-do list of things in life, of how I lived my life. And I crossed over all the items in this to-do list. I did it. I did everything. I was acting inside my life so profoundly, with such a care for others, because I had to, because my life is intertwined with others. So I had to be very involved in their lives. So I was. And all this involvement slowly erased the separate self, the one that was doing it, because I was immersed in other things, and I cared so much about things that are not mine. So if I'm not constantly thinking about myself and what will be good for me and what I'll do to satisfy me and how I will succeed or go on, the things that happen to me, and I move my perception to others, so naturally I don't think so much about myself identification. You lose that identification. So I was living like that, and then there was a very, very intense week that I think brought all my abilities to the maximum of giving that I could, because many people needed me. I had a friend who lost her daughter and she needed me, and I was there. And my daughter celebrated her 12 years. It's a bat mitzvah in Israel. It's a great thing. It was the day after, and I directed a big event. I was a director, and people needed me as a director. And my husband he has an enormous project of building cars for disabled children, and it was an enormous event. So 3 events followed one another, 3 different events with people from the greatest sorrow you can imagine to the greatest happiness you can imagine, and the special children are so touching for the heart. It's such a compassionate project. So I had to do so many things with so many people and change myself and be there with them, and all the time pay attention to them. So I vanished, not entirely, but in the process of doing, I moved so automatically and so good. So after these 3 days that the events followed one another, after these 3 days, I went to visit my brother, and my brother likes to walk in the nature. And so we walked on a nice hill, and then we talked. And I feel that because I not only lived those events, I talked about them. Every smallest detail I told him, I got it out of me. I left nothing in. It was like process of processing it, everything. So when I got back from this trip, I went home. It's a 20 minutes drive, and it's a nice drive. You have trees I live in a very countryside place. And I was so whole, like complete, like I did it so well. It was so hard. Like it was an enormous effort for me, without sleep, with running from one place to another and being and helping physically and mentally. I did it so nicely. And I talked about it, and I told it to someone, and he listened, and I don't even have to think about it because I told him so. I got it even from my head. I don't have to tell myself the story again. I got it out. So nothing remains. I did everything okay. I don't have to think about it. So I can just drive now because soon there will be something else I'll have to do. Everything is still waiting for me. I'm not going to a very silent place. I have to go back into business and do everything and run. But meantime, this half hour, I can just drive and not think about anything and not do anything because I don't have to. I did it. It's okay. Relax. Did everything good. Drive. And this is the state I was in when it happened to me. What happened to me?
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, to continue. It's okay.
Yeah, definitely. I understand. So let me just sum that up, I guess. So you, through your devotion to others, kind of just melted into them. Like you kind of just, your sense of awareness and your meat suit body kind of just melted into others as you were devoted to taking care of these people. And then there was something that clicked in you from helping out these suffering individuals, that your sense of self goes a little bit greater than in your own body. It kind of extends to others.
I didn't see it like that when I was doing that, because you only think that it's better to help them now because they suffer. You don't realize all the process that is happening through this doing. You don't know that. I only realized that now. What the great gift I was given to myself in these actions. But I think if I knew that it would not be good, because I did it like in an innocent way.
Yeah, like you just did it without any kind of expectation of a reward or something that you want to get from.
Yeah, I didn't think this is the way to get somewhere, because I didn't know that. I know it's a way, but it came naturally, because sometimes when you're in a surrounding that suffers, and you know you can help, so you do that naturally because you can, and it's a logical thing to do, and it's the nice thing to do, and you would want others to help you if you were weak and needed, so you do that. So I didn't have expectations, and I just was content with my actions. So I think, like when I said about this to-do list, I felt like I did it. I did what it took. I gave everything. It's okay. Now there wasn't a shred of me that said, oh, why didn't you do that? Or should have done that, or nothing. I went all the way. So, and not for something, because this is what happened. All the events needed me. So, and I was strong enough. I was young enough. I don't know. I could do that. I was in the right place. I was the mother of this child who was celebrating. I was the good friend I was the wife of the one who makes the great event. I was the director. I was in the right place to do that. So I was driving very, very content with myself. But even not content, just empty, just don't have to be content with myself, because I told my brother, and he was admiring my actions, he says, wow, you did that. So I didn't need the admiration or the recognition of what I did, because I got it. So I needed nothing. I could just sit and drive. And this is a very silent place where you can just be. You can just be what you are, where you are. You're driving. And as I was driving in my car to my house, there was a song on the radio, and I love listening to music. This music is my life, like many people, I'm sure, because it's so high. And I know many songs, and I love them. And the song began, and it was an Israeli song, an oldie of someone that I really loved all my life, of a singer that I loved because he always reminded me of my nice uncles in Jerusalem, like a warm voice, like someone. I liked him. So he started to sing, and I knew that song by heart. Of course, I heard it a lot of times. It was, the name of the song is Like in a Movie. We were like in a movie.
Wow.
And it began, yeah, this is the name of the song. We were like in a movie. So it begins, when the song began, it begins like a white car is driving in an empty road. So I was driving in a white big Jeep in an empty road. It was night. The sun was setting. It was, and then the song says, and the eucalyptus trees hides it. This is the next line. And I saw the eucalyptus trees in the side of the road. It was very nice. So I said, wow, it's so nice that I'm driving. He sings. And then he sang two more lines. And in those two lines, there was a very, very big silence. I don't know how to call it, pressure, something that like makes you so serene. Like I was sitting and it was quietness itself around me, and I started to see nothing, only to hear the voice that was coming from the radio. All that was left was the voice that's coming to me. The car went, I went somewhere, I don't know, the voice was coming, and the voice was the only thing that was. And it was speaking to me through this song in the words. And then the verse came, when the chorus came, the chorus of the song. And the chorus of the song says these words: do you remember? We were there like we were in the movie. And he says that line 4 times. Do you remember? We were there like we were in the movie. And he says that again. And I was sitting and listening to this line. And this line told me everything in a second, because all of a sudden it was, like I said, the only thing that existed was the voice in the radio. And it said something like, when he said, do you remember? He didn't remind me. We were together after I was reminded. So the split second of the understanding didn't even happen for me. When he said, do you remember? I was in the second state that was, and we were like laughing about it together. Do you remember that we were in that illusory reality together? Do you remember that it was like in the movie? Do you remember that? And I was, for me, it was so natural. This split second when it happened, it didn't even take time, any time at all, to process. No negotiation. There was a moment before it happened when the first 2 lines were, after the 2 lines, the second 2 lines, when the voice in the radio started to become the only thing. And there was another, I don't know if it's voice, there was another thing that was like saying, don't stop this. Don't stop this. This don't stop. Because I had a moment of picking, I realized that after many years that I had a small peek into this state, like 15 years ago, also while driving. while listening to the song. You know, I don't know if you know this song. It's a very funny song, Ecstasy, Ecstasy, no? It was a very, very old song. It was a hit. And I was driving in Spain for some reason in great fields of wheat. And suddenly I felt that pressure, that quietness, and the song came and I started to be me. And my husband was sitting next to me, so he was looking at me and then snapped me out of it in a second. So, and I didn't realize what happened. Now I know it was a pig. But when I was driving alone, no one could take me out of it. I was alone. I heard the voice, this time don't stop this process. Whatever it is, you can take it. Whatever it is. Trust it, you can take it. No matter what happens. See what happens if you don't stop it. So I didn't. So I don't think I could have stopped it.
Wow. Music is magic.
Yeah, for me.
That's so interesting. That's so interesting. Just like the right place at the right time and just something synced up. There was just some kind of synchronization where you got the message. That's beautiful. Yes. It was like the message from...
I got it so beautifully from someone I like in the simplest words. Do you remember? We were there like we were in the movie. Everything is an illusion. Every little thing, it's not real. Do you remember? And now I remember. And in split second, yes, I remember. And now I'm something else. And I drove on. The song continued. But when I say that, it sounds very like peaceful, but it was very dramatic moment. When I look at it, it's high intensity. Yeah. The highest intensity you can feel as a person. This quietness, this thing is, and you almost see it. You can't see it with your eyes. Did you see it? It's interesting for me to know if did you see it? This seat, this place, this thing.
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't really seeing. It was more of a just a feeling, or not even a feeling. It's something, just a state of presence that you just sink into, something that just becomes you, or you become it. It's the same thing. It's just like this way of interpreting whatever this is, whatever's going on right now, in a different viewpoint, but it's the viewpoint of viewpoints. It's like all the viewpoints at once. It's simultaneous somethingness, everythingness, and simultaneous nothingness at the same time. And it's like grace, it's something like to view your being as something greater than just this suffering humanly vessel. Even if it's just a peek, like you said, to have that peek behind the scenes of the movie, the behind the scenes view, and see what's really going on. It's something special to have that. And I think that's the same thing as you. I don't know. Maybe it's not, but it seems to be a similar kind of experience, but it wasn't with a song. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I get that often. I get a lot of peaks between the realms, I guess you could say, peaks between my experience. And it's not really constant. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's hard to explain. It's like, if this is all just a movie, I still sink into my role as the actor of Gary sometimes, but I know deep down it's all just a movie, and there's nothing that can really take that away from my being, that this movie of life is constantly going on, and I am the movie and the actor and the audience all at the same time.
Yeah. I think that when it happened to me, it's this intensity stayed, because this intensity, when it's new to you, when it comes that specific moment, it's overwhelming because you never knew something like that. You didn't know that this is a possibility, that the mind can function in this way. It's like, I don't know, discovering that there is no earth and space. There's something else entirely. That it's an amazing discovery. So it's overwhelming because it's new.
Yeah, it's salvation.
But the feeling of this intensity, it doesn't fade. Not for me. It didn't fade or change. It's the same as in that specific moment. I just live it. So it's not a hard thing to live. It's very easy to live in this silence. It's very easy to live in this state. So the thing that was amazing, it's the newness of it. And in the first seconds, in the first realization of everything, you realize it. And then you stay with this realization because it's so simple, because I define myself as a very, very simple person that tends to see things like in a normal way, how to make them like in my life when I try to do everything right. So I'm simple in my view. And this is why I think it's so similar to this state, that this state is simple. It's very, very easy to live in that state. It's natural state. You know so much. So all the pressures go down from being the person. You don't have any pressure on you.
Yeah.
No kind of any pressure on you, and you can act without any pressure of what people think or what this world is or what will be or what death. Nothing. You take everything out of you. So what is more easy to live than in that state? But in the first seconds, you're shocked that you lived in another state of mind. You realized how wrong you were. You realized what a mistake you lived, and you feel sorry for the others that don't realize that. That they can't still realize that. You know that they are what you are, the absolute. You know everything. You know where you are. You know who they are. You know that they are not other from you. You know everything. So it's like you ended the game. It was a game. The game ended. And while I was driving and laughing, because it was still 7 minutes to my house, so I had time to process it before I got home. So I laughed. I really laughed, because there was another song that was funny song. It was about the candid camera. It was a song that said, the word said, "You're so gullible. You're in a movie. They're filming you. You don't even know it. You're so gullible." And I was laughing. I am so gullible. I was in a movie and I didn't even know it. So he says it and I was laughing. And then I got closer to my house and I knew I'm going. I can't now go and speak about this. It's not the right time and not the right place. But I had a little time. And while I was driving, I was realizing that I am staying. Because when you know that, when you know what you are not here. You know that all of this doesn't exist. So why stay? Why be here? It's like you can go and nothing will happen, not to your loved ones, not to the story. It's not real. So why? And it was a moment that I was driving and saying, okay, I finished the game, but I'll stay. But I'll be a good girl till the end, and I'll play it through. I'll go through the motions. I'll play the part for the others that don't exist. Okay, because they don't exist, I'll play it for them. I know it doesn't matter if I'll play for them or not, but I'll do it anyway. It's like when you have the choice between good and bad, the obvious choice is good.
I see. It's interesting that you even come to that choice, right? It's because there's something in you.
This is my nice husband.
I've got a guest. Hello.
Yeah, this is my husband. He brings me an orange.
Nice. Some energy.
Yeah, he's not interested in this subject at all. But he lives with me, so he has to accept it.
He has to put up with it.
I think he's having a good time with it, no?
Huh?
I'm better. Do you have a better time with me ever since the
Yes, I think she's very, very happy. I still think it's very, very silly.
He thinks the whole thing is very silly.
I'm very jealous at you people that this is what makes you happy.
And that's all that matters, right? As long as you're happy, right?
Yeah.
Happiness is the right word.
Bye.
Sorry.
I need somebody to bring me food.
Yeah, it's nice. He's bringing me levivot. It's hot potatoes, fried hot potatoes. It's nice. He has to live with me, and he will accept. He's accepting me, but it doesn't interest him. And 99% of my time, I don't speak about what we speak now at all.
That's interesting. We were just talking about that, and then that happened. That's a beautiful timing on that. Yeah, I mean, do you think everyone in this thing is okay? Let me rephrase that. Are there some people in this movie of life that just aren't meant to realize it's a movie, and that's okay?
Wow. Are there some people in this reality that are not meant to realize, and it's okay? This is
because yours seemed like a stroke of grace. It was just like a stroke of fate that was bestowed upon you, right? Which I've talked to other people where that's happened before as well. It's just like right time, right place. Things just line up, and whoa, okay, what's going on? You know, I don't see, I mean, maybe, hopefully in the future, that would be amazing, but billions of people having that happen to them, maybe that'll happen, but at this point, that's not happening, and it hasn't happened. So, I mean, do you think it's, you know, in our relative destiny for others just to simply not be on that wavelength, and that's okay?
No, I don't think that, I don't agree, because it's like basic privilege of every human being to be in that state. This is the state we were created to live.
A birthright.
Each and every one of us, the simplest man. It's not a spiritual achievement that reserves to the high and mighty, and to the fortunate ones, and to the one that the Lord decided about. This is what is entitled. This is what's supposed to happen to each individual. This is what I think should be the state. The humanity is now under-evolved in the most shocking way. It's walking around so in the wrong place, like a herd.
Yeah.
And I think that my experience shows that there are no individuals that are meant to do that and others that are not meant to do that. Because this is the birthright of humanity. This is what it's supposed to be. This is the basic thing that we should go from and live this reality from.
Mm-hmm.
So why doesn't it happen to humanity as a, I don't know, say michlol, as a range of people? Why doesn't it happen now? I think it's the herd
mentality. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this is it. Because when something is portrayed as truth and it's such a consensus, this is reality. We live, we die, this is matter, everything. We know that, so we're trained to live like our independent thought is very narrow. And and all the people around us show us the same thing. So I think that when the movement you talk about, you and me and others, now we are few and weird, and my husband thinks it's silly, and all my surroundings thinks it's silly. But when it's like popular, I don't know how to say the word.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like it's in the trend.
Yeah.
When it will be in the trend, when the young people that are maybe more open, though from my experience, they are also very close because they're too close. But when it becomes something more natural, when more and more people show that it's a possibility and it's the right possibility, and you're wrong, and humanity is wrong. So it will the basic core of the identification will be questions. Now it's not. Now there's nothing you can't speak to the people about. Even the people, most people don't know about these things. And when you talk about the searchers, maybe you can ask, what about the ones who know? Why don't they realize that through why don't they are not enlightened or self-realized? Why doesn't it happen to them? They're in the right place, no?
Yeah, so, I do ask. That's usually one of my usual questions to people is like, do you think we can all get on this wavelength? And is there a time?
Yeah, I think that anyone can get on this wavelength.
I think so too.
It's the natural wavelength, and he can do it. The problem is that people are too lazy. I think I'm sorry.
I know what you mean.
What?
I know what you mean.
They are too lazy, and they are too scared and self-involved to do what they need to do on their to-do list to get ahead and to get in sync with this higher reality.
Yeah.
I got in sync with the higher reality of Simcha because I did everything right. It was hard, okay? I mean, it took a lot of effort, but this was the way. It didn't came through meditation or practice or believing in it. It came through doing, really, really creating a different reality. This is a natural process when you wipe the eye, when you lose the self, because you are engaged in the world and not thinking so much about what will be good for me. or I have to save my strength to myself and be strong and be beautiful. I don't know. All this conditioning, it's so sad. You waste all your time on it. So it's possible for everyone to do that. He just has to be very honest with himself about if he's really doing what he should in his life. Mm-hmm. If he's really, really involved in his life like he should be, like he knows he can be. Yeah. Without excuses to yourself, just do it. And and then you go and you get in sync with your reality, the higher reality. And then you get this amazing understanding of where you are. And then you can play the game like I continue to play the game free. I play it without the pressure of winning or losing anything. I just play it. I don't even enjoy the game because you don't enjoy this game the way that people are enjoying, because when they are winning, they are losing. Yeah. They have feelings. I don't enjoy the game. I play the game. I can go through everything and wow, realize what I'm seeing, realize what you are. Realize this beautiful process that we are talking like now, if there is a now, and you're asking, is it possible for people? And I can see that, of course, this is the natural state of humanity. This is the natural state of humanity. This is where it should be, it will be, I believe. Because you can see through the ages, through where humanity came to, where are we now? We are so evolved. Yes. Yes. There is evolvement all the time. And now this evolvement is accelerated all the time. So this is the next step. This is the next giant leap. And then when there is enough movement, the herd will know that. And the defenses will go down. And they will realize that, wow, it's a good thing for me. When it sticks to the eye, it's good for me. I will gain from it. Maybe it's a starting point also. I don't know. You have to find your way, how to get there. But that does it answer your question? Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. I think so too. I'm on the same wavelength. I do believe so. It's just like, I always wonder what it's going to take. What will it take for us to truly be the beings collectively that we were supposed to be and understand the beings that we are? Because like you said, we are in this weird herd mentality point where it's just so easy to get sucked into CNN or TikTok or whatever narrative that is put on the screen for us. And that isn't the true narrative of what we really are. And it's like, what has to happen? Because it's like, you can't just tell somebody, like this whole conversation we've already had, it's not going to do any good for somebody that really has no idea what we're talking about. They're just going to think we're crazy people. So it's just, it has to be this like direct experience in somebody's life where it's just like this is dawning of, whoa, it's just like this aha moment, like the light bulb goes off. And I'm always so interested, what is it going to take? And I don't think I have that answer, to be honest. But I think it's interesting with you, it happened through devotion of others. Like you just, and I think that has a lot to do with your sense of self, just kind of, it's just, it got out of your own body and into the environment and helping others. And it was through love. I think there's something special about the transmission and vibration of love that can bring our whole planet to that kind of wavelength, is because through love, you recognize that I'm not just this being, I'm not just the ego. Through love, I realize, true love, I realize that you are the same thing, and so are all the billions of others. We're all just this giant happening process. And through love, it's a way to realize that. It's like a highway to realize that you're not just by yourself. There's not solipsism. I mean, we are by ourselves if you want to think about, we're all just one unitary consciousness, but we're by ourselves together. We're all
we're all through love, you can find that blending between the separation and the one. It's like you realize that I am separate at the same time, but there's also the other aspect of this person is me as well, and that's through really getting down and seeing somebody for what they are and really helping them. Like there's something special about devotion to others and devotion to somebody else, and working with somebody else in your community and realizing that we're all in this together. There's something special about that, and that's gives credence to your story and how it happened to you, because a lot of people I talk to, the dawning of this awareness comes from some kind of traumatic experience, usually like a psychedelic experience,
Yeah.
something that's just like, it just gets through the boundaries of the ego. Like the story that we've been that we've been given our whole life is shed through whatever this experience is. Like whatever it is, like the walls that are built up, they're just broken down through something, like some kind of experience happens. So I always wonder, what would that experience be? And I think it has to do with somehow with love, man. There's some love is what gets through the boundaries of the ego.
But that people think that if they're going the world with an open heart and they love others and they'll help others, that this is the wrong thing to do in this world, in this cruel world where you have to get by. The narrative is, don't do that. It's harmful for you. It's not good for you. Save your strength. Don't show your weakness. Don't do that. It's not good for you. And it's so misleading.
Mm-hmm.
This is because, as you said, this is very powerful tool, love, as you call it, the human love, and through it you can evolve and you change and you develop and you open new possibilities, and everything's like a beautiful game. So much beautiful things happen when you allow yourself to love and to give, but the narrative of this world is the opposite. Now you're trained to think otherwise, no matter what the movies say. The ego believes he has to protect himself, and if he'll give others, is a sucker. I don't know how do you say the word in Hebrew? You say fire. You will lose. You will give, you will lose.
Yeah.
And this is I think that this is the change that society as a whole has to just to become better, more tolerant, kinder to the different ones in this society, and to find your love. Even the hardest people has to do that. This is the involvement, and because the higher state, this state, I don't call it love. It's beyond love. It's such a perfect place, and until we as human beings will be perfect in our manner and our the way we treat others, we can't sync with it. We can't sync in it. So we have to do that. So it's a hard work, but it's possible work. It's up to you and how you do that. And if you believe that giving yourself and loving will eventually give you something that others can only dream of. So it's my way gave me the highest prize anyone can get. So it's totally worth it. I can tell you. I know it sounds like self-righteous, but this is the simple truth. This is what happened to me.
Yeah. I believe it. It's beautiful. That's the thing too, is you can tell there's authenticity in your words, and anyone that speaks from that state of awareness. There's a certain sense of just truth, I guess, if you want to put it that way, that you can just feel off of somebody when somebody's being phony or when somebody's being real about it. There's a fine line, but it's easily noticeable if you kind of know the wavelength. and I can tell that, you know, you're there. And I think it's just in somebody's presence. Like you can just tell, I don't know, I can just tell that you're at peace. And even though you're probably at peace even when you're not at peace, if that makes sense.
I'm laughing all the time inside, no matter what the circumstances are. Sometimes it can be very hard circumstances, because in 3 years, a lot of things happens in the life of a regular person. So I know, and I knew from the very start, the very beginning, nothing can touch this serenity, this absolute thing. It can't. If you don't identify with the separate form, with its troubles and with its body and its struggles, you see everything from the absolute perspective. Nothing can harm you or disturb you. There can be no disturbance.
Yes.
So it's a very recommended way of living. And I want to just go back to the place where you said that when will humanity as a collective will wake up? And I think it doesn't matter, because I woke up and I am humanity as a collective. Wow. So it happened. It already happened. This whole story, this timeline of story was salvaged by me now, or by anyone who says that and really lives that, because there are no separate entities. You are not separate from me in any way. No, you're not sitting in Massachusetts. You don't have a microphone in front of you, and I'm not. We don't. Both of us don't exist, and we are not separate. So this whole thing woke up and knows itself. So does it matter if humanity as a collective will do that? Only in the story. Only in the story. Will it be a nice story of humanity as collective waking up? Wow, I would love to see that story. It's nice, but it doesn't matter. And it would not have mattered if I didn't walk and saw that reality. It wouldn't change this reality. So this is what I think.
Yeah. That's really interesting. That's pretty powerful. I understand. Oh man. That's great. You know what? We can probably wrap it up at that point. That's a beautiful point to wrap it up at. Do you have anything? Do you have anything? Any last words that you want to tell the world?
No, I hope everyone will be content with their lives as much as they can, improve their lives to the very best point that they can, and try to sync themselves with the absolute through the separate form, through perfecting the separate form, because this is true perfection, synchronicity. And we are already this state, so there's nothing to worry about. Can relax.
It's all perfect.
Yeah.
It's all perfectly imperfect. Or imperfectly perfect, I guess.
It's perfect. It's perfect. There is no imperfection in this. In this, they're only in the mind of the judging person.
Yes.
It's not imperfections. It's different expression. It's okay. Yes. Everything.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Thank you for coming on here. This was a wonderful conversation. Thank you for anybody that listened.
Thank you very much, Gary.
Of course.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. And good luck with everything you do.
Yeah. Good luck to you as well.
Thanks.
Wish you peace. Namaste.
You too, everyone.